Hey there friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, back in the library again shooting the videos this week, and I've got Shenanigans with me, and we are here to talk about a very special YA book that we read recently that we absolutely adored. So one of my very good friends actually recommended that I read this book. It was on my TBR list for quite a long time. I actually got it like as soon as it came out, which was a year or two ago, a couple years ago, and I just hadn't gotten to it yet. And you know, life happens, other books happen, new things were coming out and I was getting to them first. And finally she was like, you have to read this book because it's absolutely incredible. So I moved it up on my TBR list, I jumped right into it, and she was right. It is so incredibly fabulous. I cannot believe I didn't read it sooner, but I'm glad I read it now because it's fantastic. So this book is called The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, and this is by Sonora Reyes. The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. Now you can see here it's got multiple awards here. It was a finalist for the William C. Morris Debut Award. It was a finalist for the National Book Award, and it also had it was a Pura Belpré honor book. So it had a lot of really great recognition on it here. I've read this author, but I've read more of her recent works. She's got a book that came out that I really loved. It was like her second or third book, but I hadn't read this one until very recently. And now I'm kind of kicking myself because I could have been talking about this book way sooner. And this is a contemporary slice of life story about a girl being true to herself, understanding herself, finding herself. And that may sound like a simple storyline, but it's about really so much more. So in the beginning of this book starts with our main character, Yami, who is starting at a new private Catholic high school. She's trying not to focus on the fact that she's one of the very few people of color in the school, and she's one of the only Mexican kids at the school. Her and her brother are going there. She's trying not to focus on that, and she's trying to focus on other things, mainly keeping her younger brother out of trouble, keeping an eye on him, on making her mom proud, and also making sure her biggest secret stays under wraps, which is that she's gay. She's a lesbian. So she got outed at her last school. Her previous best friend, they were friends their whole life, she came out to her best friend and her best friend outed her, and it was a whole terrible mess. Yami's family still doesn't know, but everyone in the school did. So she was very grateful to be able to change schools, even though it was putting her in an even more precarious situation, because being a gay kid in a Catholic school is rough. It's just very rough. So obviously I did not go to a Catholic school growing up. I did go to a public school, but I was, you know, one of the few queer kids in my town growing up. And as a teenager, that was really hard. It was a really rough experience. So even though I didn't go through the exact same thing as Yami does in this book, I think it was very relatable. So she starts going to the school. She's got a lot on her plate, a lot she's keeping track of. And then she starts to fall for this girl named Bo, who is an openly queer girl at school and always fighting with the administration, always getting into trouble with teachers. And Yami is really drawn to her, but she knows that she has to keep this all under wraps. She cannot be openly, you know, gay in this school, in this area. So she keeps trying to channel this, like, you know, what would a straight girl do in this situation? So that is what she is working on when she is doing that in this school. But she's got all kinds of other things that she is doing as well, which is why this is so much of a challenge for her. So she's got all that under wraps, and this book is a lot about Yami's journey with her sexuality and starting at this new school. But there was a lot of other aspects of this book that I found really fascinating as well, particularly the family aspect of this, because Yami's dad is no longer living there. He is back in Mexico, and so she talks with him on the phone a lot, and she's close with him in the beginning of the book, but she's not as close with her mother, and her relationship with her mother is very strained. Her mom puts a lot of pressure on her, pressure that her brother does not seem to get. It's very one-sided with the siblings, and she feels like she can never ever do enough or be enough for her mom to really accept her. And that's taking even just the sexuality out of the picture. Just as a person, Yami feels like her mom, you know, they just don't have the relationship that she wants. I read this one part that I want to read back to you because I was like, ooh, it was very emotional. My mom loves me a lot. And even if Caesar, her brother, is ignoring me, I know he still loves me, somewhere deep, deep down. But with my mom, at least, it feels conditional. Like, if I'm not exactly who she needs me to be, then I'm unlovable. Maybe she doesn't actually love me, but the person she thinks I am. Ooh, that's really rough, right? That's a really rough thing to be feeling and experiencing. And that was actually what drew me in this story even more than her coming of age experiences with going to the school and finding love and friendships and stuff like that, was this relationship with her mother, and how, you know, she really had to work so hard to gain her love and approval, and how that relationship changes throughout the book, which was very surprising and amazing. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Other thing I loved about this book, which I kind of expected because, like I said, I had read her other book before too. I love the dialogue. The writing in this book is so fantastic. It's hilarious. It's heart-wrenching. It drags you through all of the emotions, but the dialogue in particular felt so real and raw and honest. I absolutely loved it. A lot of times with YA books, you know, it can be a little disappointing even if the story is good, because if the teens talking to each other don't sound real and genuine, it can pull you right out of the story. But not the case in this book. This book was everything I had hoped it would be and more. Absolutely loved it. The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. Well, I hope that this book sounds really awesome to you and that you're interested in her writing. If so, please feel free to come and check this out at Farmington Community Library. And also, thank you so very much for watching, friends. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.